F-word lovers, what is up? Welcome back to Living by the F-word. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what to bring to a camping music festival as far as food, snacks, drinks, and also how to pack your cooler and how to pack your car. Let's get into it. I really wanted to talk about this topic in a separate video just because I think it's important to talk about. I think if you're a new festival goer or new to camping festivals, you might not know what to bring as far as food, or you might not even know to bring food. Sometimes people really go into this experience really underprepared, and so I'm here to help you prepare for your camping music festival. Now, I do want to stress that festivals have really amazing food. They have great food vendors. It is definitely possible to survive at a festival just by buying food at the festival. But sometimes that does kind of put a little bit of a hole in your wallet. They can be a little bit pricey, and it can add up if you are, buying breakfast, lunch, and dinner at a festival. So it's kind of important to be prepared and bring your own food, bring your own snacks especially. And your own drinks so that you could kind of pregame before you go in, and so you have things for late night when you come back after hours and you're hungry and you need something. Just kind of important to be self-reliant. So I'm going to be going over some of my favorite snacks first, just because I think snacks are the easiest and you really can survive at your campsite just off of snacks. You don't actually have to bring a grill and have full-blown meals, but I will get into meal suggestions for that if you do choose to bring your own grill. So let's get into it. All right, so first up for snacks, I just kind of want to go down my list as far as snacks that I recommend and why I recommend them. So I do love just having little snacky items like cheese balls and chips and salsa. You could do peanut butter and jelly on crackers. You can really kind of get creative and have a bunch of little little snacks to pick on, I guess you could say, because these are really like non-perishable. So some other items that I recommend as far as snacks are trail mix, protein bars, granola bars. If you want to make your own protein muffins, you can also freeze those and you can bring those with you. I like to do that sometimes depending on if I'm driving to the festival or not. If you're flying, it can be a little bit harder, but definitely stop off at a store even if you are flying and bring some snacks. I also recommend baby food pouches. Those are really easy. They kind of taste like, I don't know, like a smoothie kind of. I know it might seem a little weird, but they're just easy on your stomach and really easy to eat. Hummus and pretzels, you can freeze the hummus. I also like just regular crackers with hummus or baby carrots. Baby carrots don't really tend to go bad if you keep them in your cooler on ice, so those are good. And the hummus doesn't really go bad if you freeze it especially and keep it frozen on ice, and then it'll defrost as the week goes on, or not the week, but as the days go on, and so you'll be able to eat it, by day 2. So those are some items that I really enjoy. I also like fruit. Now, fruit can be a little tricky just because it doesn't last that long, especially in the summer heat during festival season. It might not be the best, but if you do a fruit salad and you prep before you go, which is really important with any type of snacks that you have to cut up, definitely anything you're bringing that you have to prep before you go, cut up, freeze it. And you really can freeze grapes, watermelon, things like that, any type of fruit salad, and they are a really yummy snack. You just kind of have to keep your eye on them and make sure you are providing ice as the days go on. Oh my God, I forgot to mention pickles. Definitely bring pickles. I don't know what it is about salty stuff, guys, but salty stuff at the festival, I think because maybe you're sweating so much. I literally don't know what it is, but like chips and salsa, pickles, so yummy. Also with the pickle juice, you could make picklebacks. So that's something I love. Like at Burning Man, I don't know what it is, but like the saltiness of like the pickle juice and like chips and salsa is just, it is so fucking delicious. So yeah, definitely recommend that. Okay, so diving into some food ideas. Now, this is all gonna depend on if you have a grill or not. So a lot of people don't bring grills or flat top stove setups. It really depends on who you're going with. But if you do decide to invest in a portable tailgating grill, they can come in really useful. So my top meal that I think is easiest, especially for a larger group, is quesadillas. So Did I really just say quesadillas? Oh my God.
Oh, get off, Napoleon. Make yourself a dang quesadilla. Fine.
Oh my God, I can't. Okay. So my number one food, as far as if you're gonna bring a stovetop or some type of grill, and especially if you have a larger group, is quesadillas. Quesadillas are really easy, they're customizable, and they're good for everyone. So what I like to do is bring frozen chicken strips. So you can buy them already pre-cooked. They're already cooked, they're already cut into strips, they're just frozen. Frozen food is your friend, especially if you're going to the festival. You could bring basically anything that's frozen, like frozen sliced veggies as well. You heat them up on your grill, you just heat up your tortilla, you sprinkle shredded cheese on it, you put your chicken and your veggies in it, and you have a really simple snack, and it's really filling and it's easy on your stomach, especially when you're partying a lot. You really want to go for things that are going to keep your stomach settled. So this has been a huge thing for my camp group at Electric Forest, especially also because, like I said, it's customizable. So if you have any vegan or vegetarians in your group, they can kind of just customize it how they want. Well, actually, I guess not vegan because they don't eat cheese, but you know, if they're vegetarian, they could have just a cheese and veggie quesadilla. So it's very simple depending on who you're with. It's customizable. Now, some other suggestions are you can bring beef patties that are frozen as well. So you could have hamburgers, but I mean, you don't really have to go too extra. I feel like you definitely can get some great meals at the festival, especially later in the day. You're heading in later in the day, and at night, you're probably going to eat inside the festival, but it still is like important to have some like more like meals with substance. So something like even peanut butter and jelly would be really good because you only have to keep the jelly chilled, and it's kind of filling in my opinion, and it's really yummy and a fun snack at a festival. Some other ideas that you could do as far as like food and not just snacks are foil meals. So foil meals are really popular when people go backpacking or hiking and they have to cook a meal outside in foil. So you can kind of prep this before you go. You can have like a piece of tin foil out, and you can put things like roasted potatoes or veggies or like ground beef or something like that, kind of roll it up, freeze it, keep it frozen in your cooler. And then once you get to the festival, like the first day or two, once it starts defrosting, you can just cook it right on your grill in a foil, and it will heat it up and cook it. And you can kind of just chill and kick it while that's cooking, and then you'll have like a meal like that. Something else that I haven't tried before, but I really want to try is nachos. So I mentioned chips and salsa under the snacks, but basically if you have chips, right, and then you have the shredded cheese because you're already getting that for your quesadillas or whatever, you can put that in foil, and you can kind of just melt the cheese in the foil, like another foil meal. Also, another thing that I have is a Hot Logic. So a Hot Logic is a portable heater for cooking food, basically. It's what a lot of flight attendants use. So it's basically like this little mini portable heating plate, and you can just cook and heat things up in there. Something else you could do as far as a meal of substance is chicken sausage. So this is also really popular with hikers and backpackers because you can get it pre-cooked. So you don't really have to worry about handling raw meat and having to cook meat. It's already cooked. You're just kind of heating it up. So it's something that would work good on your grill with frozen veggies. Like I said, you really can just kind of like go with what you think would be easiest and what would last the longest. That's the most important thing. Is if you are definitely going to be bringing food for a large group of people, you want to be, first of all, making sure people are actually going to be eating it. You want to make sure that people are actually into what you're making. You don't want to be bringing all this food and then have it go to waste. So just make sure it's stuff that you can keep as long as you can in your cooler, which is why I'm recommending frozen stuff, because you will be probably driving for a long amount of time and it'll start to defrost. So it's just important to have that type of item that won't go bad. You know what I mean? As far as breakfast, now, usually I just go somewhere to get breakfast, but it kind of is clutch if someone is willing to cook breakfast at your campsite. So something as easy as eggs would be easy. I've seen people bring pancake mix and do pancake mix on a flat top. It just really depends on what you're into. If you bring bacon or Taylor ham and some frozen potatoes with the frozen peppers, like I said, that could be a really good breakfast. So it really just depends on who's willing to bring all this stuff and cook it. If you don't think you're gonna cook it, if you're like, nah, like I am not dealing with that, then don't. These are just recommendations if you are looking for some ideas because you're trying to save money on food. Okay, and now we have drinks. Now, of course, you want to bring water. They do have free water refill stations. So if you are having a larger group camp, I do recommend getting something like a big jug that you could put a pump on, that you could fill up at the water refill station. It might be a little hard because the water refill stations on the campgrounds usually don't have like a nozzle like they do inside of the campgrounds. So it might be a little harder to fill something up like that, but maybe if you just have even like a gallon of water that you could refill to bring for your campsite and have that would be really helpful. You definitely want water. Try not to bring like a 24 pack of bottles because that just creates litter. That's why I'm recommending bringing like gallon waters or getting a larger one that has a pump that you can all share, that type of thing. Now, of course, you want to stay hydrated. Other people like to bring things like Gatorades or coconut water. This all depends on what you like. So you could freeze Gatorades, you can freeze water obviously as well. As far as mixers, OJ for mimosas, so you want champagne, OJ, you can freeze the orange juice, you could freeze the cranberry juice, any of your mixers that is a juice, I usually freeze because these now become blocks of ice. Now, blocks of ice are super clutch when you're packing your cooler because you want to keep your frozen meats, your frozen vegetables, all the foods I just talked about, basically, you want to keep them cold, and blocks of ice will stay longer than crushed ice. Now, as far as packing the cooler, once you figure out all your drinks, I don't really recommend putting drinks in with all your food. I would try to keep it separate. They do sell dividers. So what I mean by that is like you can get a divider that is a cutting board that will divide your big cooler in half, and you can put all your drinks on one side, all your food on one side. But I recommend just kind of keeping it separate, keeping your food and stuff in one, and then you could have a separate one for drinks if you have the room for it. It depends on how many people you're driving with, what type of carpool you have, that type of thing. But yeah, drinks I would not really put in there because you could always put the drinks in there and get ice last minute at the end of your drive, or once you get to the festival, people are selling ice. So of course, you want to have some drinks cold, but like beers and things like that, they do kind of take up a lot of room. So I would have a separate cooler if you can. Kind of is just going to be trial and error depending on how many there are of you. Now, of course, a lot of people bring hard liquor, bags of wines. You'll see people slapping wine around campsites a lot at camping festivals. It just really depends on what you like to drink. Now, I try to stay away from the hard liquor at festivals just because I'd prefer to kick it with a beer, and I don't know, it's just my personal preference just based off of drinking hard liquor and what it does to me. But yeah, you could really kind of bring whatever you want. However, they usually have a restriction on glass bottles. So it's super important to look at the frequently asked questions page on the festival website. I say this in like all of my videos, but it's so important so that way you know what you can bring and what you can't bring. Now, some festivals have a limit. Like they say you can only have like a 24 pack of beer. Hello, no. Like we need way more than that, you know what I mean? So you kind of just have to get clever with how you pack your car. You want to make sure that not all your liquor is all in the same place, if you get what I'm saying. You don't want all of it in the same cooler, because if they say, oh, you're over the limit, you don't want them to take your beer. Like that fucking sucks. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like just kind of get clever with how you pack your car in that way. But as far as packing your cooler, you definitely want to freeze the larger juices. Those are your blocks of ice. Put them down first. If you have some type of divider to put on top of it, cool. If you don't, whatever. Now you want to put your meats and make sure that, I just heard my puppy bark. You want to put your meats and make sure that they are frozen as well. Just freeze everything. They will get defrosted, trust me, especially if you're driving 15 hours, 20 hours, or whatever your drive is, they will get defrosted. So you want those all frozen, and then you want to like kind of keep your veggies and fruits and stuff like kind of together. If you're bringing any type of dairy stuff, you want to bring them together and keep them on top so that they don't break, like eggs. And yeah, you just kind of need to Jenga it around. But then if you do put ice in it, just be mindful that it might really melt. And so you want to have as many blocks ice as possible. So now that we covered the food, drinks, and cooler and how to pack it, it really is also going to kind of depend on the type of car you have. But let's talk about packing your gear and your cooler in your car a little bit. Now, I'm not heading to a camping music festival, so I'm sorry I don't really have any footage to show you, but I'm just going to try to explain it quickly. But basically, you do want your cooler accessible, especially if you're on a long drive and you're going to need anything out of that to snack on or stuff like that. You want it accessible, but also at the same time, you kind of don't, because if you're going to be keeping stuff in your cooler that you don't want security to see, like the extra drinks I'm talking about and stuff like that, like you kind of want to have stuff on top of it. Now, as far as your camping gear, the items that you absolutely need to have accessible first are your easy up canopy and your tents. So if you have 2 tents because you have 4 people in your car, you want to make sure that the tents are the first things out. You want to make sure your easy up canopy is the first thing accessible. You do not want this stuff buried in the back behind your suitcases and things like that, because when you pull into the festival grounds, the first thing you are doing is setting up. You are not having a drink, do not smoke, do not drink, do not party. I'm telling you, set up your camp. It will be so much better. Once you've driven such a long way or flown and then driven, you have to set your camp up first. It's just the responsible thing to do. Do not party. Trust me, guys, just do not party. But you want your tent and those items accessible so that you can kind of claim your ground, because that's what everyone around you is going to be doing. So that's kind of how I recommend packing your car. I wish I could show you. I just wanted to kind of put this video out to help people that are going to camping music festivals in the coming weeks, because I know some are going on, but I obviously don't really have a car like with multiple people's stuff to be showing you how to pack. But basically it's just like a Jenga system that you have to figure out, but sometimes crates work because crates can help you carry multiple things also. Just, it really depends on your personal preference, but I just kind of wanted to make this video as far as food and cooler and kind of like why it's important to have these things and how to pack them in your car. So I hope this video was useful for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments or DM me on Instagram. I have all my socials listed below. I also have links to other videos below that I talk about my festival essentials. I just put a video out about how to prepare for camping music festivals, whether it's a walk-in festival or a car camping festival. I have a lot of experience at festivals, you guys, so just let me know if you have any questions. I am here to help you, and I hope you have an amazing time at your next festival, and I really hope to see you at a festival soon. See you in the next video. Peace.